Now, the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetoku, has ordered the redeployment of the Commissioner of Police in charge of Imo, Mohammed Bade, to the force headquarters. This is contained in a statement issued by Force Public Relations Officer Olumuyiwa Adejobi on Monday in Abuja. He said that the redeployment of police commissioners ahead of the 11th of November governorship election in the state was in line with his commitment to ensuring neutrality in the poll. Adejobi added that the decision also underscores the police's unwavering dedication to upholding the rule of law throughout the electoral proceedings. We have with us here in the studio Arise analyst Dayo Sobowale, and he joins us to discuss the likely implications of redeployment and what to expect in the off-season election in Imo State, as well as Bayelsa State and Kogi State. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure being here.
All right.
Let me first of all start by saying I'm relieved that the Inspector General of Police has come in and is pleading neutrality.
All right.
So that at least will douse the tension. Because the last time we were here, we were talking about the bloody face and body of the NLC president. It was a sorry spectacle. I remember what I said then, that breakdown in communications between the police command and the center on several sectors of the problem. But I'm happy the police Inspector General has come in. He has redeployed the police commissioner. He has redeployed him, and he has said, you see, the police will be neutral to ensure a free and fair election. I take him for his word. Because if you look at the state, if you look at the utterances of the actors on the scene, you know that it's a charged situation. But the police Inspector General pledging to be neutral, you get me? I'm sure that will make people to be more careful in their utterances and the way they talk. You see, the IPOB has made a statement that they will not watch while the governor imposes himself on the people. The governor has said that the NLC president is playing politics with the industrial relations. There's a story that during the weekend, the governor sent some people to Ajayi Rose village to really go and bless him because they thought he was there, but he was not there. The NLC has played that it will make the country literally ungovernable by 8. That's Wednesday. That's this week. But I think with the effort of the IG now, they will give peace a chance. So I'm hopeful that at long last, by 11th, maybe we have a peaceful election.
Now, with so many players, at the table, just looking again at that situation that transpired last week, there were allegations of state-sponsored thugs. There were allegations, of course, of, the state also getting involved in various ways. So many allegations flying around. And I remember we had the conversation where we were saying that everybody has a stake to take in the responsibility of what transpired. Communication breakdown was the term we used. Yes. Will changing this one individual really make an impact into what seems to be a systemic issue that we see recurring in Imo State, especially where violence, a culture of impunitive violence is concerned?
You're right. The violence is being arrested by the action of the Inspector General. Remember the other day, I said there is breakdown communication because between the Inspector General Police and the State Police Command. You see that one has been redressed now. There is breakdown communication between the local trade union and the center. I mean, from the look of things now, it will seem the local union moved along with the governor and jettisoning the center. That was why Ajayi was left in the cold and manhandled violently, which is wrong. But now, the positions of the actors are clear, very clear. The local union is allied with the governor. So that leaves NLC in the cold, and it will come back. Although that is no excuse for the way they have left Ajayi. See, that is an issue that has to be addressed later. How did that come into place? Because in the rule of law, in a democracy, you don't have that sort of situation. It's not acceptable. So IGP, he has said what he has said. Let him act. Let him ensure security for all parties contesting, so that they have access to vote together with their supporters. Then, after that, you see what happens, right? That's on the 11th. But then we still have to look forward to 8th now to see whether the NLC will buy the peace offering from the Inspector General of Police, or will just go ahead with what they had planned. But I think largely the IGP's position has diffused the tension in Imo State for now.
All right. So a lot of people are very relieved to hear this particular statement by the IGP, because usually a lot of people will look at off-season elections and actually accuse the government of the day of almost over-policing the off-season elections with the number
to be biased for his candidate.
Yes, with the number of deployments you see towards a particular state. But this is looking like a different ballgame entirely.
Yeah. And you know,
should this be a should it be a standard going forward, that this is how off-season elections should be handled in terms of policing, in terms of handling sensitive issues concerning states?
I like your optimism, but you see, let us be careful. You don't have to beat up somebody before this sort of neutrality comes into play.
True.
This is a unique bad example. But then you see, only every cloud has a silver lining.
Yes.
If at the end you have a free and fair, peaceful election, then you see, maybe what we need to do now is to make sure the sort of thing that happens to Ajaero never happens again. True. Because the IG himself has said the fact that he has redeployed this police commissioner does not mean that they will not find out what happened, or that he has said he's guilty, that they still go on with their inquiry. That's showing some tenets of the rule of law. Because elections can only take place in a peaceful environment.
Yes.
So let's be hopeful for the election in Imo State, and let's hope when if this turns out, as we are optimistic now, to be a standard for general elections, not only off-season elections. But what is important is for us to replicate what we do in off-seasons. They are usually fairer than during general election. That's my hope.
And in sharing that hope, of course, we need people to turn out to vote.
Yes.
The incident last week and several other, because, you know, as much as that was highly publicized, because we're looking at a public figure.
It was brutal.
It was brutal.
Yes.
Of course, reports of insecurity continue to come in from across Imo State. You know, what are your thoughts? What's your outlook in terms of the possibility of a big voter apathy from the state? Of course, balancing it out with the fact that, like you said, it seems the off-cycle elections do seem to have more of a balanced outcome. What do you think these two factors will...
see, I can assure you, there won't be voter apathy. You see, they're a vibrant lot. Imo State is a very vibrant state. And they are not afraid of each other. I can assure you, the PDP will be on ground. Labour too will be on ground. IPOB has said, you know, will not support anybody. These are politically charged, political active participants in the state. That is why the place seems volatile. And that's why a governor can come out and say somebody was beaten up, or it's because he was mixing politics with industrial relations. Do you get me now? Yeah. So I'm hopeful. It's a charged atmosphere. But the IGP has promised law and order, neutrality and fairness. Inshallah, we shall have a free and fair election. Right.
Some are not as optimistic as you are.
Yes.
Let's start it off from that particular note, because if you look at the last 4 years, security has been at its lowest ebb in Imo State, some would say. And that security forces in that state, as we speak right now, have their work cut out for them, because
It's a turbulent state.
Yes, it's an extremely turbulent state.
And volatile, yes.
Yes, and if these people are not up to task, that's probably, it might threaten to spill over or boil over. What would be your charge to the new commissioner of police that has been deployed to the state?
The new commissioner of police, his work is well cut out for him. Neutrality, like his boss said, neutrality and maintenance of law and all that, to make sure that people go to vote without being violently harassed or challenged. But you see, I told you before that every cloud has its silver lining. It's not in every election that they beat up a labor leader.
Sure.
And that's the tragedy in this thing. But then the tragedy can be turned to some fine comedy, electoral comedy, where we have a successful election. So let's give peace a chance. Yes.
All right.
And just kind of expanding the scope of the conversation, of course, we are also witnessing elections in Kogi State and Bayelsa. Well, what's your outlook on that, especially Kogi State, given, we saw the dramatic turn of events with Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan and her narration of what she experienced, during the election period. Well, how do you read the temperature in Kogi State?
I see the governor. The governor has been badly hot, you get me now. And the APC has been badly, hot. They will do all they can. They will do all they can. Maybe they will do their work to gain the upper hand. So that's how I see it. So let's keep our fingers crossed. But you see, my focus has been on this Imo State because they didn't beat up anybody there like they beat up the labor leader now. So that's the peculiar, embarrassing one, which hopefully we hope will turn to something good at the end of the day.
All right. Dayo, Sobowale, I want to say thank you very much for your time.